views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening and welcome to BronxTalk. If you're like the many Bronxites who have decried the lack of affordable housing in the Bronx, then you're going to love tonight's program. It's no secret that in addition to demanding increased availability of housing that Bronxites can actually afford, there's an endless chorus of demand for supportive housing to help communities get healthier and residents be more productive. And it certainly would not hurt if you could also add a green component as well, so that the project can take advantage of the cost savings that environmentally friendly concepts can bring. Well, what if I told you that because of Community Access, a 40-plus-year-old not-for-profit that has been a pioneer of supportive housing and social services for people with mental health concerns, all of these components are part of a brand new project in Mount Eden. It's on 172nd Street, a true-to-life dream come true for the borough of the Bronx. Affordable, supportive, and green. And we're going to learn all about that tonight and see also how it might be replicated as an answer to our desperate housing crunch. Please join me in welcoming to BronxTalk the CEO of Community Access, Steve Coe. Nice to have you back with us.
Thank you.
And also the Community Food Coordinator of Community Access. It's Anna Moran. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Coe, let's start with you. I guess part of what I need to ask to start is the fact that you have a food community access coordinator. Many housing development corporations don't, but you do. Talk to me about the founding of Community Access, what it's about, and why you would have people like Anna on staff.
Great. So Community Access was founded by a group of people who were friends, relatives of people who were being discharged from psychiatric hospitals back in the 1970s. And they saw what was happening to people leaving the hospitals, living in large SRO hotels, winding up on the street. And they banded together, started renting apartments on their own in the Lower East Side and other parts of the city, and as a housing solution. And over the years, we have basically kept the same mission. They rented apartments in buildings that had families and children. So as we have developed projects, we have housing for families and children in our buildings. And more, we've seen that housing is a great foundation, but it doesn't solve all of our problems that our tenants face, and including health concerns. So they've had a lot of chronic health issues over the years, very poor medical condition, and getting access to care, and social determinants of health, having friends, having nutritious food to eat, getting exercise. Having a job,
building community.
Yes,
is what we're
so
talking
that's
about.
really the basis for having somebody like Anna work for us.
I guess the bottom line, and once we get to the bottom line right at the beginning of the show, then where are we going after that? But the bottom line is, yes, you can figure out the finances of throwing up apartment buildings or domiciles for people to live in, but if, in this day and age especially, and in many of the communities in the Bronx, if you don't put those supportive components in there, and it'd be nice, of course, if it's environmentally friendly, then really what have you got?
Right.
Talk to me about, before we get into this very specific project that you both know I'm real excited about, talk to me about, in general, other projects that you've done and use that as kind of like an example of how it can, presumably it can actually work.
Sure. So we've developed 18 supportive housing projects over the last 25 years.
Throughout the city?
Throughout the city.
Okay.
And 7 in the Bronx. And our model is we have 24-hour, first of all, 24-hour front desk at our buildings, so people aren't wandering in and out.
So people need to check security off their checklist there.
Everybody has a lease, so we have tenants. I mean, these are standard leases.
And so you have, I'm sorry if they interpret everything you say, but these are things I hear about all the time. So then people have ownership, and if they have ownership of property, then they tend to take care of it better. They have greater pride in it and all that. You keep going, I'm going to keep interjecting.
Go ahead. I really want to separate ourselves from what a shelter is, because I think people hear supportive housing, they think of, and these are people who lived in shelters, and now they're moving into their own apartment, have a lease, and are being treated with respect in a clean, safe building. So that's really the main difference. So in addition to that, we build in a lot of amenities. So there's on-site, there's a laundry room, there's a computer lab, there's free Wi-Fi throughout the building. We allow people to adopt pets, which a lot of landlords discourage or prevent. So we have a special rider that goes onto the lease, explaining the responsibilities that people accept. And that one thing, we started it like in the late 90s. It can have a tremendous effect on somebody. And
again, I'm interjecting. So you have a senior citizen who might be lonely, or a single parent of some sort, and the kids love to have a pet, which helps bind a family together. And rather than say, well, you can't live here, you can't live here, you encourage it. And then if I can also add, what I know is that then you add experts and people around them to help teach them how to take care of them better.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we've reached utopia, folks.
So we do, when somebody gets a pet, we'll bring in a pet expert, a trainer, to train the owner, because not everybody knows exactly how to take care of a pet. So we want to make sure people do it right, and we support it financially so that people can
And you have indication, presumably, that these things are working, that you have healthy and safe and secure buildings, and people are doing better.
When I do my presentations at community boards, I go on our website. All of our addresses are listed. You can go to any of our buildings anytime, day or night, and ask to look around. And so there's somebody at the front desk. We teach all of our front desk staff respectful communication. Plus, we want them to learn that they know the names of all the tenants and greet people when they come in. So
tremendous.
It's a package. We do have a team. We have a support team in each building. So that's the support in supportive housing. So we're paid by contracts with the city. So there's requirements that we have service plans and help people connect up. Medical care, and then school and employment.
I'm hoping that our viewers, people who know me, people who've watched the program for the many years, will understand clearly now why I've been so excited about it, why I said we've got to bring them and show people the Bronx, because it can be done.
Yes.
I mean, we fight and we talk about these issues all the time and say, can it be done? Well, yes, it can. Anna, nice to have you with us. Talk to me about your role in these projects and what you actually do in general, and then more specifically what we're going to be getting and by the way, the address is 111 East 172nd Street. Not built yet, but they've got the foundation, and we're getting closer. Go ahead.
So so my role practically is kind of divided into 3 areas: grow food, cook it, and also find entrepreneurial ways about making added value products with for example, herbs or that we have, like right now during the winter time, everything we dried a lot of stuff so people can make teas and spices and stuff like that.
I'm always interested in building communities. So what you do is then take community residents. What do you run classes, or they stop by whenever they want? How does that work?
So we do a lot of outreach and try to see who is interested, and within different sites. So if each site has a space in the backyard. So we try to utilize, we're in New York, right, real estate. So for people to have a space in the backyard and think that you can grow food, that it could be, you can save money for it. You also can connect everybody to building, like share skills. So for example, there is someone who does amazing work with carpentry. and is very excited about building raised beds.
You find a spot for them and have them do
Yes,
it.
and then people see that and start to come together.
You know, this is, it's just so important because we talk, again, all the time about people in the Bronx who have skills, who have desire, who say, why can't we do this? And if they're part of a community access building or this new one coming up, 111 East 172nd Street, then they will get a chance to do it. Can I make the assumption that people are excited about it when they move into a building, they say, boy, I can't wait to get involved, and presumably also the kids too, their children get involved?
Absolutely, and it's something that depending who you are, but there's a lot of people in different cultures. I think we have a lot of diversity in the buildings. So when people start to get to know each other, that cultural component comes in, and a lot of people have grown food in the past. And also, a lot of people are interested in doing that.
And then the food then they share? I mean, the
And
food
people,
that you
yes. So it's
Oh,
based on what people are expressing their interests
There's
are.
some people that have like recipes for hot sauce, so they grow peppers.
Yes.
And they make this, and they're not revealing it to me. But we sell it. We have.
They don't reveal a secret to
No,
you.
no, no. But I have some at home.
I do want to ask about, because you mentioned the idea of entrepreneurial component to
Yes.
it. So this entrepreneurial component, then people actually make a couple of dollars out of it, or you do it to break even? I mean, or you let the residents decide how they want to handle it?
I guess we're at a stage right now where we're showing people like the possibilities, and we hope that in the future we can connect to like farmers markets or people to have a track if people want to sell stuff. But right now, like the making of the abundance that we have, sometimes I can tell you we have so much oregano, like mint everywhere.
Who needs oregano out there? Anybody?
You know, like a lot of herbs that people chose at the beginning when we were planning this. So because we don't want to go to waste, we dry them, and then people make teas.
Do you
So
see,
that kind of stuff.
I'm always interested in results. Do you see the results of this in terms of the, listen, we know we're producing food, maybe
Yeah.
making a couple of dollars, we know that, but do you see the results in terms of the health of, and I'm talking mental health of the community
Absolutely.
and of the residents, so that you have a nice project, nice place to live? Do you
Yeah, and
see
I
that?
think that's where I feel like my role, it's I love what I do because
It exudes from you the minute you start talking.
because you start to connect with people, and I feel like it's a right when we talk about food and food justice, like you said, everybody talks about it, but you know we forget that people have their own ways about what they like and what they don't like. So by providing different opportunities related, all using food as a leverage,
You know,
I think that's what brings people together.
You mentioned that, and then of course it occurs to me, we don't want to make assumptions, especially in the Bronx, about who people are. They come from all over the world. It must be incredibly exciting when you have people from the Caribbean, or people from Asia, or people from the South, or people from the Bronx, all working together, and everybody's got a different point of view in this.
Absolutely.
And then you come together. Oh my goodness, it's just, I'm excited. So what I want to do, and then we're going to get back to the CEO and talk some of the finances and how can we actually do this. But let's pop up some photos, because this is what it's going to be over here. You'll be able to see it. Lindsay and others, let's start putting up some of those photos. So this is going to be the new project.
Yep,
Is that what
and
it
the
is?
brick is going up as we speak. And we tried to get an Art Deco kind of feel for it because it's right off of the Grand Concourse. So we wanted to, we try to have our projects blend in.
And there is enough land to do the kinds of things. That
Yeah, the whole it goes through the lot. So that whole back of the lot that goes out
we're
on.
going to actually see it. Let's keep rolling. Let's see the next one, which shows you the beginning of the building.
Yep,
Boy, how
that's
nice and clean. Well, obviously the artist rendering it nice and clean.
That looked exactly like that.
But you maintain them that way.
Yes.
And again, the home ownership teaches people to do it right.
Yeah.
The next photo, I think, brings us into Anna's area here. So let's see that next one. There we go. So now, Anna, can you explain what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so we hope this is one of the original designs, and we're actually working to maximize the space and to use native plants and to have, for example, all of the areas that you see, to make sure that they are for people of all abilities, so everybody can can maneuver the space
Right.
and grow.
And that would be in a courtyard, like when you look out
Yes.
your window in the center. And you know, we have so many problems in some of our public housing projects and other places. The courtyards, they get noisy, they get disruptive, they get dirty, I mean, on and on. But you have gardens in there that people have built themselves. Who would mess it up, right? Of course.
Yeah, and that's the idea. To have something that you can also bring the food, you can cook. We'll have like a kitchen space so people can learn about urban agriculture, cooking.
I couldn't love this any more than I do. There's one more photo I think that we have that I do want to show, and then I'm going to go back to the CEO and go ahead. Let's put it up there and talk about the numbers a little bit. Do we have that final photo? No, there was a fourth one. No, all right. Maybe let's talk to Steve about. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now, what is this? This is just some of the stuff that's been created.
That's a
cooking exhibition.
A food demo.
Food demo,
Yeah.
and you do that within the housing project?
Exactly.
And so then along with that goes back to the CEO. So you create community space, because many of the, they'll say they'll create community space, but two problems. One is we don't have the space, and number two, who programs it? Community access programs.
Yes, so we would program it, yeah.
How is it possible to do this when everybody else is saying, it can't be done, I'm not doing supportive, I can't do, green, How are you able to do this?
So it's not that hard.
There we go. I love that.
It's an approach, it's an attitude, it's what, the reason we're in the housing development business is because the clientele we work with are not the first in line to get into, mainstream affordable housing. So we're doing this work because these folks need a place to live, and we know all the successful outcomes that can happen. But we also want to provide housing for people in the community. So that's why we do this integrated model, so that there is affordable housing for families at the same time.
It comes through grants, so you work with and
federal,
tax
state,
breaks
city, New York is fortunate. There is, and we're looking at other communities around the country where they don't have the income stream to support the rents and to provide the support services in the buildings, and that's has been in New York since the first New York agreement back in 1990 between Mayor Dinkins and Mario Cuomo, governor. They signed an agreement, and that's been pretty much available for quite a while now.
And you've been smart enough, frankly, to tap into that and say, okay, this agreement exists. We're gonna keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another aspect of it that I just love. As you can tell, I love what we're doing here. There's another aspect that I just love, and that is the fitness component, and this whole idea. And now there's a lot of talk of bicycles. Talk to me about that aspect of it.
So,
people who are saying, gee, I need a nice place to live in the Bronx, they're making their checklist. Oh, really? There's fitness, there's bicycles, gardens, food, Wi-Fi.
That last photograph, this showed the outdoor space. So, I don't know if you've seen around the parks around the city now, they're putting in exercise equipment, in outdoor equipment. So we'll have some of that equipment that'll ring the outside of the farm area, and this will be like an exercise circuit. So you don't need a lot of exercise. You don't need to go to the gym for an hour. But if you do, 15, 20 minutes a day, you do that 3 times a week.
And it's right there for you.
Just gotta walk out your back door.
And you don't have to then sign up for a health club.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking about affordability. We know what we're talking about with rents, but then with somebody who goes in maybe a more traditional place to live, they're paying for Wi-Fi, they're going to pay to get into a fitness center, access to healthy food, and you're kind of cutting to the
And we'll also program, yoga and indoor, fitness classes and stuff like that. So that'll all be available to attendants as well.
For people who are watching us right now and saying, gee whiz, how do we get in now? Are you filled up for this particular project?
So we haven't done the rent up on this project yet. We're still in construction, so we start during the summer sometime. The applications for the family units will be available through our website, as there are.
We can put up that website whenever they want.
There's occasionally, because we do have 7 projects in the Bronx, so we do have occasional openings. So those applications are available right on our website. The supportive
housing. And when do you anticipate that happening?
For this building?
Yes.
During the summer, I would say,
Okay.
like July or so.
So July is when
We'll
we're
start
doing it. And then maybe coming around, then maybe another year the thing would be completed.
So we'll be finished in the fall, October or so.
Anna, how do you choose what goes into each project? I'm guessing that you try to custom make it based on who comes down to see you.
Absolutely.
And how do you choose? And talk to me about the range of the kinds of things that you do.
So, for example, like you said, different sites, like depending on the culture of the building. So there's people that enjoy cooking a lot more than growing. So I try to do both.
And there is a kitchen available, a community.
Yeah,
kitchen.
all of the sites have kitchens. Some have more industrial, like commercial kitchens. So, but any kitchen, we do demos with like raw food, so people can eat it right in the spot if we don't have access.
And you let them create menus. How exciting for people. Many communities will have an international night and everybody will bring a dish. But now people will be sharing recipes and talk about binding and people in the community. I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm sure many women who love to cook. And then in the evening, I'm again guessing Tuesday nights come down and after work and people can get together and share recipes, and then we're going to grow it in the garden. Oh my goodness, I'm moving in.
Talk about the video that you made with all the different people.
Oh, I'm sorry. If I had a copy, you'd show it. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I don't think it's like it's everybody that comes together. So it's like people of all kinds of backgrounds, but like we did a class that we call it food and digital art, and what we did is like everybody decide what kind of recipes they wanted to make, what kind of things they wanted to grow. So when it came together, like everybody did a video. So we have a 6-minute video of the whole event, because people grow. People also like build the...
And then that reinforces it, it gives them pride. One aspect which we didn't talk about, and I was boasted on their behalf at the beginning of the show, about green technology. Yeah. Talk about the green aspects of it, and then again, why are you able to do it and other buildings say, it cost me a fortune to put up those solar panels, I ain't doing it.
So we did look carefully at that to see what made sense, and there's a return on investment in what we put in. So the solar panels make a lot of sense, and they do pay for themselves, and so we're including them
Can you
on this
talk,
building.
again, my objective is always to get people to see what's possible. Talk to me about some of those costs versus the benefit that you'll get ultimately.
So,
like how long does it take you to really make that back and those kinds
so
of
we're
things?
seeing 3 to 5 years to get the money back.
That's not that long.
Yeah, and it's not long at all. And it's the technology is so well advanced, and currently there's still, well, we don't need the tax benefits because we're a nonprofit, but there are subsidies available to install these. So it really does, and you'll see a lot of them.
And it takes care of 100% of the energy needs. For
So
the
it takes
building,
care of
or
all
what
it takes care of the common space in the building, which is $50,000 a year.
Significant, and for anybody who either manages a building or works in a cooperative or knows a lot about it, that's common charges that keeps rents going up.
Yep.
And so it takes care of it, and it pays for itself in 3 to 5 years.
Yep.
Can you talk in dollar figures how much you?
I wish I could. I
oh, okay. Sorry. and are there other green aspects to the?
So
way
we have water recapture because we're
yes,
have
the
this
water
garden.
recapture. I want to talk about that. Thank you for mentioning that.
And that you really have to design in. It's not like you can stick a pipe on the outside of the building after the fact.
Some people try to do that actually.
It's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Right.
And you need a reservoir. You need places for this water to go, and you need to hold it. Plus, it prevents water from, when it rains, to flooding the sewer systems and so forth. So you're capturing and holding it. You can release it then, and then you can retain it also if you're going to use it.
Well, you keep pointing at her. So then, what do you do with the outputs of the stormwater and other results of what he's talking about?
Depending on what is the installation, you use it for irrigation of the raised beds.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you each a chance to draw a conclusion. So for you, Anna, and really, as people know, we've tried to put this out to show that it is possible. We can do these things. All we have to do, what Mr. Coe mentioned earlier, you just have to want to do it, and you do, and so you figure out how to do it. Talk to me about just the bottom line for maybe another housing project or even property owner who's thinking, gee, this is kind of a good idea. Just give me the bottom line for what you do and why it's worthwhile.
I feel like I just call it anti-crisis. Sometimes I feel like
anti-crisis,
because we provide opportunities for people to come together and together determine what is it that works, and like by coming together, then you stop isolation. People start to know each other and skill share. It has been amazing how people really connect with each other about what they do and the possibilities of something as simple as cooking or urban farming, getting together, sharing each other's culture besides the culture that people create in their buildings.
You know, I'm saying amen, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
when we showed that overhead shot of the garden, and I mentioned something about, you know, about maybe it being disruptive, I'm guessing that young people also don't want it. This is their families, this is their home. Steve, and then for you, the bottom line for other developers or not-for-profits, just give us a little advice on how to make it happen.
So, you know, our people that are coming out of homeless situations and institutions, I mean, they are faced with social isolation, stigma, and this is, as Anna said, this counters all of that. People have an opportunity to make friends, especially if you have a dog and somebody else has a dog, then you're like, you can bond over your shared pet ownership, or you can bond over a meal, and you can learn something new. And that,
yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I love the idea of people of different cultures cooking together or growing together.
Yeah.
So and people get healthier. Oh yeah, I love it. CommunityAccess.org. Check it out if you want to be part of this project, or you need housing, or you want to look at this housing beginning in July. Steve Coe and Anna Moran, both from Community Access, thank you for sharing with us as we near holiday time. Dreams do and can come true in the Bronx, and we're doing it right here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, if you have further questions or comments, and I'm sure the comments are going to be like, wow, on anything you heard on tonight's show or anything going on in the Bronx, and email them to us at BronxTalk@BronxNet.org. You send a tweet at BronxTalk, or you can post them on our Facebook page, and we'll read them on the air during a future edition of the program. You can check out our archives at BronxNet.org. You find Bronx Talk by following the watch menu on the new BronxNet website. Now, next week, it will be Christmas. We'll have a lovely holiday show with one of the Bronx's best youth programs, the Renaissance Youth Center. It is going to be another great show about things that can be done in the Bronx. Thanks to our director is William Guzman. Our producer is Lindsay Violet. We will see you next week. Enjoy the holiday season peacefully. Goodbye.
Milton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?